welcome back to Logistical Lies by Miranda J. This is almost February. It's so close to it. I can't believe how fast that the month has already went by. You'll just find out soon that February 14th, Valentine's Day, is actually my favorite time of year. Single, not single, doesn't even matter. I just like Valentine's Day because I get to love on everybody around me. So I think this is going to be a time where I'm talking about loving on yourself a little bit. And the topic for today is not sleeping is not a flex. You heard that right. Not sleeping is not a flex. In business, you always hear people, Miranda used to say this, sleep is for the weak. Okay. I absolutely said that. That was my slogan for many years. I had friends that used to quote it back to me and be like, Miranda, you need to go to sleep. And I'm like, no, I ain't got time to sleep. I got to work. I got to hustle. Hustling was my thing, you know. When Rick Ross came out with every day I'm hustling, that was my theme song. So every day I'm hustling was real. And I saw everything as an opportunity. Every single thing was an opportunity to build and to grow. That meant that every single thing I researched and I tried to make it a possibility. That also meant that eventually my sleep patterns became they were bad. It was non-existent. Like I didn't have good sleep patterns. I actually remember at one point that sleep became so unnatural to me that I was actually jumping in my sleep. Like I remember my husband would wake me up and say, "Are you okay?" And it was because I didn't feel comfortable sleeping. I needed to see what was next. You know, like when you bring a brand new baby home and they always, like they have to stay up. They want to know what's going on. They're always looking around. Like they cry because they have to go to sleep. It's like that. Like I felt uncomfortable going to sleep. And I also felt like I was going to miss something. Like I wasn't going to get work done because I was sleeping. So that turned into years of doing that. So there was a pattern of getting a little bit of sleep, maybe 5-6 hours, like I was normal, to 4 hours, to 3 hours, to a point where I want to say in 2020, I had full-on insomnia. 2019, 2020, I definitely had full-on insomnia. And that was really rough because when you're wired like that and you're always up, it makes other things in your body not work properly. So I really wanted to have this conversation because I think, and especially those who are building a business and you're really excited about it, you don't want to mess up. So you're so busy being hard on yourself for going to sleep or for getting rest or for enjoying something. You almost feel guilty for enjoying something, which the whole point of doing this is to enjoy your life. And I know in 2019, 2020, when that insomnia hit, I remember building my website. I was doing something for a website and I could not let it go. Like I was doing Wix and I was trying to figure, if anybody's ever did Wix before, you know, it is challenging. I understand why you just pay somebody, but I was challenged by it. And every little thing that any little piece of the animation that I was trying to build, I would go back and like a little bigger, a little smaller, a little bigger, change the font again, change this. And I was like addicted. I don't think I slept that whole week when I was doing that. It was really bad. And my blood pressure went up. My stress level was really bad. I had like a little bit of panic attacks. My anxiety level was through the roof. It was really hard to have a conversation with me because I was short. But I felt like, well, I'm building something. So I'm allowed to be like this. I'm allowed to have anxiety because I'm building something is the dumbest thing that I've ever heard. I'm not allowed to damage my body for money. You're not supposed to do that. And I thought that was the way to wealth. And that's what everybody does. And I want to say it's been more recent as I've been like really studying other people in business and getting to know what true wealth really is. And I'm realizing that true wealth is when you are able to have sleep, family time, and make money. Wealth is not when you only have one piece of it because you want to be wealthy, right? In all things. I don't want to just have cash. So if I'm not able to have peace in my body, but I have money, what's the point? My anxiety, when I talked about some in the last podcast, got so bad where it was hard for me to fly. And when I would go on vacations, I was still working. So my kids really didn't get a chance to really enjoy me. So that's not the way that you want to enjoy things. I actually, in 2020, September, for my 40th birthday, checked myself in, this is going to sound crazy, to a retreat called Skyterra. It's Skyterra. They're in North Carolina. And Skyterra, it changed me. It really did. I mean, I went there, and a lot of what they did, it has something to do with weight loss too, because I was gaining weight as well. Because, if you don't sleep, you'll gain weight easily. Some people are the opposite. Sometimes it throws your eating patterns off. It slows your metabolism down. So there's a lot of things that were happening to me. And some people they lose too much weight, or they start to gain weight. And that was me. I gained a lot. And I decided to go to Skyterra just to get away on a whim. I remember my husband coming home, and I was like, I'm out. I can't. Hands in the air. I can't do it anymore. I'm sleep deprived. I'm tired, and everybody's getting on my nerves. I need a break. So I checked myself into Skyterra, and I stayed there for 2 weeks, away from my kids, everybody. And they kind of have like these group sessions. So you go in and you are kind of in with whoever's coming in that week or the second week, and you kind of like introduce yourself, kind of like AA for rest. And I realized that I met a lot of people that were different. Some people were dealing with a loss. Some people were dealing with just family. Kids have moved out. They're all alone. There were people who were dealing with things like cancer and coming to terms of it. Ironically, there were some people who were dealing with not being sick anymore. That sounds crazy. They were so used to being sick that they didn't know how to be well. They didn't know how to live well. And there was actually a lady there who had cancer, I want to say almost 40 years. And this was her first time actually living cancer-free over the last 3 years. And she realized that she had been so used to being sick that she operated in a place of sickness, to the point of when people would ask her how she was doing, even though she was fine, she would still answer in a very somber way, like, oh, God willing, and today would be an okay day for me. And that was her answer for so long, because so long she just wanted to be healed, and she forgot what it was like to feel healed. She didn't know what it was like not to have to take a variety of medications. So it was a point for her to, and even in conversation, she said, I want to learn how to fix this, my mouth, right? Like my mouth is the one thing I notice is sad all the time. And that was me for sleep. I thought I was just like normal. And then I remember they were passing out these pamphlets, and part of the pamphlet, sorry, I have to scratch my leg. Part of the pamphlet was how to sleep. And it was simple things at first. It was turning the TV off at a certain time at night, not having the phone on before you get ready to go to sleep, because that blue light, they have the blue light filter, like that light tells the brain and the body stay awake. Of course, reading or stopping the phone calls at a certain time of day. That was the hard one. You run a trucking company, people are calling you all through the night. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I have problems. There's a lot of things that I don't do right. Of course, exercising, is a normal thing. I didn't have a problem exercising. I had a problem with eating. So, in certain foods trigger you, have a lot of caffeine in it that will trigger you to stay awake as well. It was just an overall health. But the biggest thing that I learned there was staying on a schedule. Learning how to create habits that will allow my body to fall asleep. I didn't have healthy patterns. And as I was there, I started to realize that bragging about not sleeping is not a flex. It's actually dumb. Like, why am I so excited to tell people that I'm hurting my body? And just recently I had a conversation with somebody who told me I'm working on 2 hours of sleep. And this is me. I was so happy to say, man, I be sleeping. And I am enjoying it. Now, it took some time. But at that time in my life, I know I wasn't a good person for people. I know that I was probably not easy to be around. And a lot of things that I had to deal with was trust. Because in order to sometimes get sleep, you have to be in a relaxed state, right? So if you're not in a relaxed state, your body is going to just stay wired and awake. I had to learn new tools. Meditation, of course, was one of them. Yoga being another. And simply saying, not today. Okay. I have a thing that, I've worked really hard, and sometimes I get to indulge in things. So like gossiping with friends, like not necessarily about people, just what's going on. And watching reality TV shows, I realized that those things I had to cut out because they were keeping me like in a state of like always needing to know, always wanting to know. Social media was another one of those things. And so I had to really cut back. And that was a problem that I didn't think was a problem. I'll say it like this. I think if you're listening to this podcast, if you're attracted to the energy of this podcast, then you'll understand. I thought for myself, going and watching those shows and doing any of that was a way for me to check out. It was just a way of me saying, I'm not thinking about work. I'm thinking about something that has nothing to do with me, right? Not realizing that doing that was actually the very thing that was keeping a part of me kind of like on edge, because I was always waiting for the next part of the show and the next piece of gossip and the next piece of something, that it was actually keeping me in that state. So I now had to find books that relax me, stories. I had to now find ways to come back, and also people that I could and could not talk to. There are some people that I had to say, I can't talk to you every day, because the conversations that we're having are keeping me at the edge of my seat. And it's allowing me to almost repeat myself. And I find myself repeating the stories over and over again, and repeating myself over and over again. And that's not healthy. So not sleeping is just not a flex. And you have to reteach yourself this. And you also have to teach yourself that you're not losing out because you took a break. The best time to create is when you're rested. So you definitely need to be able to turn it all off so that you could turn on what needs to be there. And if you never allow the brain to shut down, just think about like a computer, or just think about any type of device. It needs to be reset. There's sometimes you're on your phone and you're like, let me restart it because it's acting up, right? Think about that. You say that, let me restart it because I don't know what's going on with my phone. But with our bodies, we never say, let me restart it because it's acting up. We just keep the wheels going. And we just keep doing the same thing. And it's like insanity. And one thing I used to do in 2019, and prior to that, before I think I stopped around 2019 being more scheduled with it, is every season I would go on a cleanse. Every season I would cleanse. I would order a cleanse, a place called Bamboo Juices in Georgia. I love them in Atlanta, Georgia. Bamboo Juices. I'll go ahead and plug y'all. Y'all need to give me a discount. But I would order them at the start or like somewhere in the middle of the season, and I would cleanse for about 3 days. And that would be my way of resetting. Well, when I started really getting into the business, like getting more active as far as like hiring and doing a lot more, I didn't have time for a cleanse. So right now I'm due for a cleanse right now. It's winter. I need to do a cleanse before spring for sure. And I realized during that time, that 3 days, I have to sit down and reset because my body needs to rethink things. My brain needs a fresh start. And if you're not giving your brain a fresh start, you're clogging it up. And when you clog up the brain, you can't think with fresh ideas. You really can't move the way you need to. So whether it's a cleanse for you, whether it's a retreat, maybe it's a day to yourself where you just no electronics, no nothing. It might be cleansing from social media for a while. Don't use the excuses, I have a business, I have to be on social media. You know what you can do? You can set those reminders. You can set those posts ahead of time and schedule them on out. It's okay to take a break. Tell your audience, I need time. I enjoy doing these podcasts, but if there's a Sunday I'm not able to record because my body needs it, I'm going to put my body first. I'm not going to put any audience before my health. And in the past, I would. Now I'm not. I'm going to make sure, because if it's not done right, then why do it in the first place? And it's something that's just, you know what I mean? You feel that way. You need that breathe out moment. And you come back and you're like, okay, now I know how I want to handle this. Same thing goes with when you're dealing with outsiders that you have to be involved with in your business. If you're the person that can be pretty level and calm, don't let their energy rush you. Because if their outside energy comes in and rushes you, you're going to make decisions that you normally wouldn't make because they're telling you to hurry up. In the trucking industry, they're always trying to rush you. Now, of course, if a load needs to be delivered at a certain time, you're going to have some type of, rush when it comes to that. But when it comes down to make a decision on this right now, if you're not okay with it and you need some time to think, you're just going to have to think. And if that means you lose the deal, then you lose the deal. But if there's one deal, there'll be another. Don't ever let anybody make you feel like if you don't make a decision right now, it's over. Normally, if 9 times out of 10, if that happens and somebody does that to you, I promise you, if you're telling yourself, I need to think about this, the universe is working out something else. Okay? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let it go. Just let it go. It's all right. The universe always somehow comes back around what you want. That's why I talk about my I ams a lot. My I ams are really important because it really sets the tone of what I want to see for myself in the future. If I tell myself I am a multimillionaire, I am a successful owner of a successful trucking company, I am wonderful, I am loving, I am rested, right? Eventually, my body, my mind, and my soul will hear that, and it will start to agree, right? It will start to go in line with each other. But if you're always saying, I'm busy, I don't have time, those words are always like that, you'll always be busy, you will never have time, you'll always feel at a state of being anxious. And sometimes you really want that. Keep it a buck. Yeah, I said that. Keep it a buck. Sometimes you want to seem busy because it makes you feel good. You want to, because I did it, right? I sleep is for the weak, Who am I talking about? Am I talking about you? You're not sleeping, so I'm calling you weak. And you want to tell, I'm so busy, girl. I got this, I got that. You know what I'm hearing now? The new Miranda, you don't delegate. You don't know how to organize. You don't know how to set the tone for your business. I'm not hearing you're busy means you got money. I'm hearing you're exhausted. And you're constantly having to stay on top because things are not really going the way they're supposed to go. Right? Busy. I don't want to be busy. I want to be productive. I am productive. I am not busy. Gotta look at the definitions for some of these things. Right? Make sure that the words that you're speaking align with what you really want. Check the definition. Are the words you're speaking out of your mouth aligning with what you really want? If you were going to define these words, do they align with what you want? If they don't align, right? If it's not what you really want, should you be speaking it? Should you be saying, I don't have time for sleep? Is that what you really want? To not to have time for sleep? Or would you want to be able to be productive and be very, very, very financially set and also be able to sleep? Do you want to also have time for family and friends and enjoy things? Or do you really want to be able to tell everybody how you're just too busy to join things and you're not able to make it? What do you really want? Think about it. While you think about it, I just want to look this up this quickly. I want to make sure that you understand some of the words that you're saying so that, and this is one of them. We'll go ahead and do this one. And I'm looking down at the camera, so I know this probably seems a little weird, but I'm going to just define this word real quick. I want to get the real definition of it so that you can understand what you're saying and how you are affecting yourself. Okay, so busy. You ready? Having a great deal to do. Keeping yourself occupied. Now, is that what you want? Do you want to always have a great deal to do? Do you always want to be occupied with your business? Or do you really want time back? And if you really want time back, then say that. Say what you really want so you can get what you really want. I am productive. I am practicing self-care. I am a wonderful example to my children and to my family. I am at peace. If that's what you really want, then say it and go get it. And stop bragging about the things that you really don't want. This is Miranda J. with Logistical Lies. Go get some sleep.